I'm assuming that's live now. At some point, I wrote some. So I was thinking notes is like way too specific for me. It's too hot as well. Should just wait until like one person turns up. Is the timer wrong again? Probably. Oh well. Uh, show notes. Ramblings. Oh yeah, I did a lot of ramblings last time. I still need a better sound check here. I just can't tell whether this is loud enough when I'm talking. Again, I'm talking to like a camera, and I don't get immediate feedback like I do it at work. So that's kind of annoying. Anyway, hi. This is Vault of the Lie. I'm your host, Yol Terra, or James. I just call myself James most of the time. Yol Terra is just some tag that I picked up a while ago. I'm just going to talk about the tabletop role-playing game Invisible Sun by Monte Games. I have a small. I'm not an affiliate as such. I'm just an asset team member, so I do demos and get stuff. It's pretty good. I've been kickstarting a lot of their stuff, and you probably see me in the comments. A lot of the Kickstarters helping people out, usually like answering questions and stuff like that. It's very very much feels like my day job. Like doing that is not my day job. It just my day job is very much similar things. So still no one here yet. Whole 2 minutes 30. Oh well. Hopefully you've. Hey, awesome, excellent. First time chat. Thank you, Sortilege Incorporated. I assume that's correct. Cool, awesome. So my format is I'm going to do this for about 30 minutes. The idea is to kind of cover 3 topics if I can do that easily. And topics could include questions from any viewer there. Thanks for coming. One of the things I wanted to start with, I was going to get some dice next time. So Invisible Sun uses D10s. If you get the Black Cube or one of the Vislay kits, comes with 4 dice. Cool, excellent. So another Invisible Sun GM. I've also the same been GMing Invisible Sun. I haven't played very much. GM'd very hard and still doing so. I have a nice casual Sunday game. It goes about 2 hours. You can get some things happen quickly, some things happen slow. It's pretty casual. Oh, this camera shot's not great, is it? I was just stare at the camera. It's like I need it a bit lower and have it there so I can stare up to it. What do you reckon? I don't know. How's the sound? That's always biggest killer for this stuff, is making sure people can hear me clearly as I'm talking into this microphone. Hopefully Sortilege Inc. Excellent, fantastic, good. So basic mechanics, back to D10s. So D10s as in a dice, a polyhedral dice, 10 sides, has numerals, digits on it, 0 to 9, and the first dice I call the mundane dice, or the normal dice, the standard dice, and you roll that, and you can get 0 to 9, just a plain roll. Challenges, well, you can put them at 0, then you don't roll. But you can if you want to, I think. If you want to do badly, there's no critical successes, I believe, in the standard rule sets. But you could add that if you like. If you roll a 9 on a die, something cool happens. Certainly rolling 0 on a mundane dice certainly doesn't do anything either. I mean, unless okay, there's increments of success and all that sort of stuff in the gate. So I've got to breathe apparently and talk slower. That's much okay. So someone else is watching me, except they're not connected, or is it the same person? Yeah, it must be someone else who's watching me, not logged in to the thing. Oh no, I've got 3 viewers. No one's talking. That's what it is. Dice. The word die for plural is coming out of fashion. So people are saying just dice. Saying that, I'm kickstarted another one called die. Basic mechanics: 0 on a mundane dice does nothing spectacular. It's only when you apply magic. Applying magic can come in various forms. One of them is indeed using one of your substats. Called sortilege, is raw magic, and that allows you to add 1 dice. Now, when you use magic, you can use sortilege raw. You can also use spells or any other sort of magical practice that requires you to roll dice, or natural abilities that creatures might have, entities. Roll second, third, and even 4th dice, and there's even a 5th dice these days. Part of the Nightside book gives you a experimental dice. And on magical dice, rolling a 0 gives you a flux. Now, depending on how many zeros you get, gives you different levels of flux, magical flux. I haven't seen very much flux beyond the first minor. Is it minor, major, and critical? I've forgotten. I'm sure I could look it up the books. Someone can correct me in the chat. So I play a lot with a grand flux. There you go. Good. Thank you. A grand flux. So minor fluxes is what I often see. So minor fluxes can be very, very small and minor. Often I like burn a sortilege if someone was using a sortilege, or I make some small little change, say a color change, or some really minor thing breaks, or just glass shatters, or a weird noise, or a weird smell, and those sort of things. And then you get to major fluxes. There's a list of these things available in handouts, PDFs, etc. Also in other PDFs, like in the the beta actual play, A Woman with Hollow Eyes. Links in my probably links below again after this. Yes, correct. So you do need those secrets to get that extra flux going. So you kind of have to do it on purpose. Um, so major fluxes can do more stuff, change things. I think there's even one that hurts yourself or other people. Is there kill? I'm not sure if there's kill. I know certainly a grand flux definitely kills. Uh, Usually it's not you. So yeah, that's true. There are spells and incantations, high level incantations, have extra magical dice. So that's pretty dangerous. Oh, cool. That's 10 minutes. What else I was going to say? Oh, successes. So, say the challenge is 2. Roll a mundane dice, get a 2, success. Say you do magic and the challenge is 3. You roll 2 dice, you get a 2 and a 3. That's success unless you needed magic to succeed. If you didn't, that means you fail. And even if your mundane dice gets, say its challenge is 3, you get a 3 on the mundane dice and a 0 on your magical dice. They're different colors. I think is it red for the mundane and blue for the magical ones in the standard set? Oh, someone closed the door. Excellent. So it's quite easy to tell that if you're using other dice, I always like go pick. I tend to pick people pick the black one for your standard dice and all the other colors for all your magic stuff. So you can still succeed on magical, non-magical tasks with Flux. So you succeed, but something else happens. Cool. All right, that's basics. Any other questions about basics there? If anyone's asking out there chatting, one viewer. Oh, only sort of legit link. Yeah, hit me up. Always keen to expand. Might do basic mechanics again and fall into more of the stuff. The second thing I was going to talk about was pools. So when you make your character, you end up having 2 major stats, which is qualia and certes. Qualia is your mind stat, and certes is your body stat. And underneath those are the substats, which there are 4 of, and I'm going to have to pull out a PDF to like remember what those are again. It's easy with a pool. There's a pool handout. You put it in character sheets as well. If you make your own, the standard ones don't come with that though. So if I just open up the key PDF over here, and we can talk about pools a bit more. Let's go at the beginning, the key. Do, 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 do. Lots of awesome stories at the beginning of the key. Lots of things to talk about. Heaps of things to talk about. My goodness. Spells, secrets, stats. So we'll start with certes. Certes, obviously, yes, everything about you is real, measurable, physical, and mundane. So accuracy, that's pretty self-explanatory. It's about being accurate in attacks mostly. I think you can use it in other ways. Invisible Sun's not very strict on usage of stats except for defenses, I think, and everything else you can fudge it around as you want. Make sure, as long as your table agrees. That's always my take. It's like, hey, can we use accuracy for when you're carefully using a key on something if you don't want to break it? It's not an attack. It's just carefully putting in, not touching the sides or something like that. Then there's movement. Nice obvious one for running, jumping, etc. And is one of those combat stats you definitely want to use for dodging attacks, and that's fairly common and doesn't make difference. Doesn't make sense to use something else. And then physicality, one of those big stats. You definitely want to have some in that. Having zeros makes you pretty fragile. Physicality, obviously, for the real strength, brute stuff, and stamina, and withstanding poisons, disease, physical changes, which happens in a magical surreal world. So it makes sense to have some amount of that. And also for absorbing wounds. Oh, I've got to add that one down. Wounds. Let's talk about damage. Add that to my show topics, not show notes, because I'm just rambling. So, accuracy, movement, physicality, and perception. Can you tell what that's for? Hopefully you are perceptive enough to, well, it's not perceptive in terms of mental, it's perception in terms of physical, smelling, etc. Searching, for example, one that I use quite a lot, um, against stealthy things as well, for hearing or smelling or whatever. Cool. And then we've got qualia, so you're smart, knowledgeable, and likable. So kind of like intelligence, but includes, I mean, they give descriptions: charisma, education, reasoning, wit, etc. Helpful for solving puzzles, remembering stuff, and doing convincing lies. It's also good for other bits and pieces, but we'll go through the substats. Sorcery. Can you tell what that's for? Hopefully there are some Vizsla here who know exactly what that's going on about. But if you're a non, then it's about harnessing magic into spell casting. Not raw stuff, but like understood magical practices. And you spend that a lot. So that's the stat that everyone's like, oh, how much sorcery should I have? I'm like, well, if you want to cast a spell that's level 2, you're gonna at least need 2 sorcery. Now, if you want to do that twice before resting, maybe you want 4. If you want to cast a 4th level spell twice before resting, maybe you're gonna need 8. And you can see how that is often the one people pour into. And then there's interaction. So that's the social, well, the main social skill for persuading, deceiving, etc. Intellect. So intellect's the other major substat, obviously for knowledge, logic, etc. Resistance for mental effects, madness, etc. Also is your damage substat. So when you take mental damage, which converts into anguish. These keywords. If anyone wants to know some keywords, just pipe up in the chat or raise it and say, James, give us a glossary of terms so we can understand more of the stuff that you're talking about. Yeah, okay, I could do that. Talk about it. What you could buy the PDFs and read it all, and you got to read it all, really. I think, in fact, I feel like you even need to read it all twice and then start playing, and even then, still learning nuances in the system. And it's great because I find the game can survive not knowing every single detail. So you don't need uh, mastery of the system. You can just have some vague, basic mechanic understandings, which you do now. And you roll your dice and trying to get a number. You can use magic and um, use your substats to add. So that's another basic mechanic. So say you got challenge of 3. Say it's a persuasion. No, sorry, interaction check. Well, you could say persuasion because it's skills. You can have skills in just about anything. Say you're making a persuasion check, and I go, okay, you can use a persuasion skill, and you use interaction to add Bene. So you've got a pool of interactions. So I've got two in my interaction. You can spend one of those in a roll. So if a challenge is 3, I go, look, I'm going to use interaction, use a Bene there, and so the challenge goes from 3 down to 2. Roll the dice, get 2 on that mundane dice. And it also, Bene is really powerful because it also works on subsequent dice. So if you go, oh, I'm going to use sortilege. So you spend a sortilege Bene, suddenly you got 2 dice. Now you don't have to get 3 on the second dice. You only have to get 2 because the mundane challenge is 2 because you've spent 1 interaction. So it lowers the overall challenge. So just roll 2 on either of the dice. So again, you can roll a 2 on the mundane dice and a 0 on the magical dice. You get the success on this interaction check and a flux, which could be detrimental to the to the overall effect. I mean, it still worked, but something else could happen. It's like success with complication, which is an excellent, more modern role-playing mechanic. And then we sortilege. We already talked about sortilege a lot, and sortilege is that fourth qualia substat. And we're hitting the 20 minutes, so that's cool. Any questions out there from the chat land of the one viewer? No. It's pity I can't see people typing, so I can think, oh yeah, they're about to type something. Oh well. Okay. Oh good. Talking about skills next. So I talked about persuasion. So in character creation, you'll get a bunch of skills straight up, and one of them could absolutely be persuasion, and that's a level of 1 to 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, you could. I theorize bending the rules to have level 5 in a skill. That'd be quite an epic, rare thing to happen. But that does the same as Bene, except continually and for free. So it starts at challenge 3. I go, I'll spend a Bene. I've got persuasion, so that's down 2. So it's 1. You got to roll one or better on that dice. Spend a sortilege, 1 or better on either the dice. Really easy. And like we talked about secrets for adding sortilege, you can also have secrets for adding Bene to your rolls. So with the right secret, you could spend 2 Bene from your interaction pool. And so I've got 1 persuasion, 2 Bene from my interaction pool from a challenge of 3. So 3, 2, 1, 0. Oh, look at that. 0, success. So you can, with the right secrets, simply spend resources to succeed at rolls, which I really like about Monte Cook games, is the way that instead of entirely randomizing and just getting better at that randomized curve, you can spend resources to get to 0, so automatic successes. Now, saying that, I still think you can roll if you want, and if you've got that sort of optional critical success, or you're looking for fluxes, you want to spend heaps of sortilege and keep trying to do all these things just to get those fluxes, because that's just fun. It's pretty cool. 7 more minutes. Got through skills. Oh, okay, skills. So there's three levels of skills. There's the main skills. What are the main skills? What are action, develop, action, narrative, and development skills, which coincides with a kind of in Invisible Sun. So action mode has its sort of quick and rapid, often combat based, but could be puzzle, time limited, high tension level. Then you've got the narrative stuff, which is a bit slower. Maybe it's a couple of hours doing this thing, versus action things, which is usually seconds, minutes. And then development skills, which is long-term things like whole days or weeks. Makers use weeks. weeks to do stuff, especially high-level stuff. And so skills all match those sort of levels and their cost to get them later. So I should add that in too. Add in experience. Just growing my topics. I'm going to put notes. I'm going to put topics instead. Show topics. Yeah, experience points, which talk about that another time. I got another 6 minutes, 1 viewer. Oh, it's very sad. I mean, I don't advertise pretty hard, and realistically, I expect lots of people have a look at this later, especially when they find it eventually. So action skills cost the most, and I guess they're the most helpful when it's the most risky. So those include weapon and defense skills, and other sort of acrobatics, stealth, etc. And then the narrative skills, which is, like I said, a bit more, bit slower, minutes, hours, maybe, um, or even seconds, I guess. So deception, magical lore, searching, understanding motives, that sort of stuff. And that's only basically, it's like I do another thing that MCG likes doing is going, here's like some suggestions of skills. Here's some set ones that we think is appropriate for your setting and the base mechanics, and after that you can just do what you feel is good. Like if you think driving should be, an action skill, then put that in as an action skill. I guess Invisible Sun is a setting in itself. I guess there's no generic uh, Invisible Sun system yet. Oh, that's some news. So Monte Games is going to release, what are they calling it? Open, no, COLG, Cipher Open Gaming License. Colg, Colin, Colg, Cog. So I think it's about publishers. I think they still have fan stuff, fan policies out there, so you can release some sort of things, but I think they're opening themselves up to a more streamlined third-party agreements. Because I've done a lot of that recently, so Tidal Blades, Old Gods of Appalachia. There's also all the ones like Vert and Sword and Sorcery. Well, no, Shotguns. Does anyone know out there? It's just Sword Legion Incorporated know what I'm talking about? I think it's Shotguns and Sorcery. Hmm. So that'll be interesting to see. Heaps more stuff coming out for Cypher System. Anyway, back from that tangent, back to development skills. So development skills are those sort of longer, more like it says, development skills are those that are important to a character's identity but only rarely used in a game mechanic. In other words, it might be important, legitimate aspect of character to be excellent at baking, but the number of times you ask to roll for baking will be low. Now, I actually disagree with that. Depends on your character. I think if you're a maker and you like baking, you'll be using your baking skill all the time because you'll be baking magical food, magical cupcakes, magical bread, magical pies, magical soup, etc. Like you could like could be potions right there, just baking. So they have, so I find it funny. The first one is accounting. It's like, okay. So the idea, I think, is this sort of free and open skill set is to allow the players to, again, the identity thing is good, but also signals to the GM, these are the kinds of things certainly in development modes that you want to see. So if you have someone who does indeed have accounting, you want some sort of accounting uh, things to happen and have that available. And it's interesting, it says players are particularly free to create their own to suit their character. So, make stuff up. I've had someone put in computer science, which I used once, I think. Twice, maybe. It's about searching records and understanding the flow of the system that they were using. Like, not necessarily computing, but systems itself. And there's a whole bunch here. So it has baking and cooking. So does anyone know the difference between baking and cooking? Tell me. And crafting. What's the difference between baking and crafting, really? Dance. Dance could seriously be an action skill. Uh, Geology, history, medicine, performance, poetry, typing could be relevant somewhere. But I think that's good how they let you have that sort of low cost development skill that you could basically choose, and I believe you can do some of those. That's oh goodness, that's 30 minutes. Thank you for those who listened live. Hopefully, others will see this later. Just wondering if I should do this almost weekly, just to ramble on about these things and put my topics. I'm sure there's lots of things I could talk about more. Um, if you want to be a guest, reach out to me on Twitter, I guess. Honestly, no, the Discord. Go to the Cypher Unlimited Discord and say, hey, is James here? Is that Vault of the Lie guy? Is he standing around chattering right now? Can I go talk to him? And I'll see it eventually, if not straight away. So cool. Thanks for listening. Try again another time. See ya. End stream. Was the video quality better? I hope so. Okay, put up the lights a bit better. Sound check at the beginning. Yeah, good.